Which is,
It's just for the next,
actually for the great recession. Rarely. Don't talk about it for a long time.
Alrighty, it is 8:30. I'm going to call to order to the July 10th Lower Downtown Design Review Commission meeting. Just as a reminder for all the commissioners to speak up, just so that the microphone can catch you. For better sound quality, we strongly encourage you to download Zoom on your desktop, laptop, tablet, or mobile device. Click the audio settings to bring an additional menu, add a background noise suppression, test your speaker and microphone to adjust their maximum output volumes. For presenters or public commenters, when it is your time to speak, mute or unmute, click on the microphone icon at the bottom of your screen. Expanding the menu next to the microphone will reveal additional options. Select your speaker and microphone devices. Test your microphone and speaker to adjust the maximum output volumes. If you're still having audio challenges, we recommend you switch to your phone for audio. Alrighty, so we are going to start with introductions.
I'm Byron Zick, Commissioner Architect.
Madison Wilson, at large.
I'm Andy Duckett, Chairman and Preservation Architect.
Nick Allen, developer.
Tobias Stroh, property owner.
I'm messaging her with the link right now.
Okay. Well, I'm Brittany Bryant, Denver Landmark Preservation staff.
Alrighty, with that, we're going to move into public comment. So if anybody has a public comment that is online, you have 2 minutes to speak. Can't tell if anybody's online. It looks like we don't have any. Okay, so with that, we're going to approve the meeting record for June 5th. Does anybody have any comments? Hearing none, I believe the meeting record is adopted. I don't think we're doing formal adoption anymore. We're going to move into the consent agenda for project 2025 COA 480 at 1331 17th Street for upper story wall sign. Does anyone want to pull this particular item off of the consent agenda, or does someone want to make a motion?
And any conflicts of interest?
Sorry, if you have conflicts of interest, please, recuse yourself.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, we are moving into design review projects. We've got one on the docket today. That is 2025 COA 477 1380 16th Street for storefront louver, outdoor patio, and signage. We have a presentation by Brittany.
Will you read the process on the screen?
Oh, sorry. So the process for items are the chair will announce the design review item on the agenda ordered by address. Commission members will announce any ex parte contracts of conflicts of interest. Staff will introduce the application and for recommendation limited to 10 minutes, 15 minutes for a large infill. Commissioners may question staff. After that point, application presentation is limited to 10 minutes or 15 minutes for a large infill. Commissioners may then question the applicant. Then we'll open it up for a public comment period, 2 minutes per person. If you would like to speak regarding a specific project, you're not part of the application team, please click the hand raise button. For those calling in via phone, dial 9 to raise your hand. If you're having difficulty with either hand raise options, please email Landmarks.
So our first project is for storefront alterations, a new outdoor patio, and new tenant signs for a new tenant in 16M, which is a non-contributing building in the Lower Downtown Historic District. This was formerly the Panera space. And it is now being divided up into 2 tenant spaces, and the new tenant Mendocino Farms will be located on the corner. And they are proposing a new patio on the Market Street elevation. So in terms of the proposed project, alterations to the building are pretty limited. The applicant is proposing a new louver in the transom area of the storefront along Market Street. Here you can see that elevation showing that new louver. It will match the adjacent storefront, so it will be a black louver. Staff are supportive of this alteration and did work with the applicant to locate this louver per appropriate locations per the design guidelines. In this submittal, on this elevation page, you can also see the proposed signage. So there will be a new wall sign along Market Street and a new wall sign along 16th Street, as well as 2 projecting signs, but I do have additional information on those projecting and wall signs a little bit later in the submittal. And then also along this elevation, a new outdoor patio will be added. You can just see the chairs here shown in that, but I have more information on the patio as well. So along 16th Street, there are no alterations other than removal of the existing Panera Bread sign and the addition of that new projecting and wall sign for Mendocino Farms, the new tenant in the space. So the proposed patio will provide clearance on the sidewalk that is required. This project is part of the mayor's express permitting team for tenants on 16th Street Mall to open earlier. So this has gone through a pretty extensive pre-application process to identify any hurdles that they would encounter with the permitting process. Just wanted to note that for the commission's review, but here you can see the proposed patio. It is just a simple black railing, 3 inches and a quarter in height. It will have a wood rail at the top, just kind of really referencing the Mendocino Farms brand. And here you have the 2 proposed sign locations for 16th and Market Street. So again, a wall sign and projecting sign on each of those elevations. These are allowable locations per the comprehensive sign plan for 16M, as this all signage for this building must comply with that comprehensive sign plan. So in terms of the proposed signage, again, we have 2 projecting signs. They're located on building piers, and then the Mendocino wall sign is located above the tenant entrance at the corner. Because this is a corner tenant, they are allowed to have 2 signs per street frontage per the CSP. The proposed projecting sign is an iconographic representation of the business. It is an aluminum cow head sign with neon outlining that shape. This is in compliance with the comprehensive sign plan that does encourage these iconographic representational images of the tenants within the space. So staff are supportive of the proposed signage. And then in terms of the wall sign, it is just a simple aluminum sign. It does have halo illumination on the back, and it is on a backer board because it will, it's still classified as a wall sign, but it will kind of hang down in the recessed entry space of the tenant entry on 16M. So generally speaking, this project does comply with the design guidelines for Lower Downtown Historic District and the comprehensive sign plan for 16M. So we are recommending approval of this application at this time.
All right, thank you, Brittany. Any questions for staff?
Yeah, so a couple things. So that outdoor seating area, that millwork piece, is that part, you reviewed that as well, and that's part of our review responsibility?
Which part?
There's a millwork piece, if you go to A 2.9,
Yeah, I don't
for
have that
example.
in my presentation.
There's a millwork piece shown on the right-hand side of the one of the entry doors into the space. the
Oh yeah,
secondary.
sorry, yes, that is part of our review. No concerns over that as well.
So the wood materiality is good in terms of
We felt
longevity
it
and
was
performance.
representational of the tenant that is in the space, and as this is a non-contributing building, wouldn't negatively impact the historic context.
And then maybe going a little bit off the reservation in terms of question, but is there a liquor service here? I mean, do they not need full enclosures on that railing if they do have any kind of liquor? Just asking that so that they don't have to come back later, you know.
I think that's a good question for the applicant, but I think in our pre-application meetings, they're not intending to serve liquor, but I can't fully remember because it was back in March that we met with them.
And Brittany, are licensing like that in our purview, or would that be something you'd have to follow up with?
They would have to follow up.
Okay, so we wouldn't have any jurisdiction over that unless they had a license and they had to close it, then we would have concerns.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I was just asking that to, you know, to make it easier for them maybe, so they don't have to come back.
Yeah, I think that was part of the pre-app identification, if there would be that liquor license, but that was back in March and I don't fully remember the conversation.
No worries, thank you.
Sorry.
I have a question about the street trees and if that's something that we can comment on. I think there's like notes that there are some existing trees, but what I saw on Google Earth, it looks like there weren't trees there.
I think they're planning to put them in, but I think that's a good question for the applicant. We have limited purview over that. We do have our streetscape guidelines. They're incredibly outdated for recommendations for how trees can thrive in an urban environment.
Any other questions? Marilee, I see you're online joining us. Do you have any questions?
Not at the moment, thank you.
Alrighty, is the applicant with us?
Good.
Alrighty, good morning. I believe you have 10 minutes to present. Whenever you're ready.
You should be able to unmute yourself, and if you want to turn on your camera, that's up to you.
Can you guys hear me? This is Jen from Mayo.
I did, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I believe Brittany has gone over pretty much everything that I had prepared to present. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if you guys have any.
Alrighty, any questions for the applicant? Tobias, no?
No questions.
I have a question if there's a plan to install any street trees or if there are existing street trees in those identified locations. It looks like on in some of the images and then when I looked in Google Earth that one or maybe two of the trees weren't installed in those tree grates.
So currently, if I may, do I have access to share screen?
You do not.
Okay, so when we went out there to survey for the project, we did see in those tree grate locations that there are trees. So there's one tree for each of those tree grate that is represented on the plan.
Okay, great, thank you.
And Jen, Tobias had a question about if as a tenant you would be serving liquor and would need a liquor license.
Not at this moment, not when we're opening. They may have future plans, but not at this time.
Jen, I have one question and it's pretty much just a a clarification, not even a clarification, it's just to make sure that you do not have any kind of covering or awning or screened in areas. It is exactly what you see. It's a railing and seating.
Yes, that's what's being proposed. There have been discussions about, possibly bringing in a future enclosure for inclement weather situation, but that's still to be discussed, and we understand that there is a whole another process with the city to get that permitted.
Correct. That's kind of what I was
So-
leading you to is if you do a covering or an awning, that'd be a future conversation.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
And Tobias did have a question about the millwork that's at the front. Do you have any information on that? Is that more like a piece of furniture or is that built in place?
It's a furniture item. It's Mendocino's busing station.
And so it's not permanently adhered to anything?
It will be like a furniture piece that's pretty heavy, and it will be stationed right there.
All right.
And is that, sorry, then I'll.
No, go for it. Tobias.
So is that a wood, a real wood, material on that? thing?
Yes, it's a thermary wood. It's a very weather resistant type of wood. So it is a finish that can be installed outdoors.
And then final, kind of following up to what Andy was saying in terms of, potential future, coming back for applications, in regards to that liquor license question, the bigger thing was that at that point, you would need an enclosure that has gates. So just wondering whether you kind of have some thoughts so that that's not gonna be that's gonna be a cohesive kind of, process if that should happen.
Yes, we have, it's actually not really set in stone whether Mendocino is going to go forward with that. There have been discussions about possibly bringing in heaters. And we understand that that's another permit that's required for that. So whether it becomes a heater or the permanent enclosure, we understand that there's additional processes to be followed up with. So right now, as far as I am concerned, we are not concerned with that scope for this permit.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just, throwing that out there because as far as thinking about how you would then add those gates later to an already existing enclosure. So that
Mhm.
doesn't become a challenge.
So if we can go to page.
I mean, you don't have to answer that question. I'm just,
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Oh,
wanting to-
understood.
I just wanna
I
make
mean,
sure
there-
you're thinking about it. If you're,
Yes, understood.
Alrighty, any other questions?
I have one. I'm just interested in the louver. Some of the louvers that we have in other buildings drip with ice and so on in the snow, and wondered about the thinking about that.
Okay,
Yeah, I guess the question would be what, to kind of add to Mary Lee's, I think for clarification, do you know what that louver is serving? Is it just an outside air supply intake? Is it an exhaust louver? What
it
is
will be an exhaust louver.
Okay, and is that for kitchen equipment or,
Yes, it would be for hood.
okay?
What's the dimension on the louver? How wide and is it?
12'2" per the drawing, Marley, and 2'2" tall, verifying field. So it's gonna be just filling that opening. as
That
shown.
whole section.
Yeah. Okay. And then does it protrude out from the building?
No, it will be within that storefront opening.
Okay, and what protrudes out? It looked to me like there was a protrusion out from the building.
As far as the louver is concerned, there is no protrusion.
Okay,
It will be
but-
within the storefront.
Okay, my misunderstanding, thank you.
No problem.
See everybody looking intently at drawings. Any other questions? Nick, Madison, Byron?
None for me. No.
Good, good. Tobias, are you good?
Good, thank you, yeah.
Alrighty, with that, we are going to move into deliberation. What does everybody think? I think what we'll do is we'll start with the signage.
There should be public comment.
Oh, sorry, any public comment before we move into deliberation? Trying to unmute someone or?
I love the blade sign.
Mhm.
I think it's adorable.
I saw the little hand go up. I didn't know if that was for us or if that was holdover. So we're trying to unmute you. Give us a second.
714-227-5223. You are unmuted if you have public comment you'd like to share.
Actually, I'm Nina Ray. I'm the applicant for Mendocino. I had raised my hand just to answer the question about your liquor. Mendocino's not proposing any liquor at this location at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nina.
Thank you. Yep.
Do we have any other public comment? Looks like there's no hand raised. Okay, now we will move into deliberation. What does everybody think, starting with the wall sign? Any comments?
Seems to be in compliance with the design guidelines. It's well designed. Seems to fit the context. I have no issue.
Alrighty,
Second that.
what about the proposal for the patio? Any comments there?
I think I think we hit on it. If there were ever to be an enclosure, I don't think there's anything to handle now, but any kind of awning, we've seen good and bad proposals come through here, so I'm sure the applicant can communicate with staff about.
The application as
About that.
is meets guidelines, however, if they do
Yeah.
an awning or something, they know they'll have to come back.
Yep, yep.
Alrighty, now I think there might be some discussion on the louver. Mary Lee, do you have any comments on the louver or are you set?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Alright, does anybody else have any discussion items on the louver?
No, I think it looks nice. It's complying, it's matching the color of indicated as matching the color of the storefront, so it'll blend in
Okay.
really well.
Any other miscellaneous comments before we move into a motion? Anything? All right, we have a suggested motion. Does someone want to make a motion?
Sure, I move to approve application, I just read it, right? I move to approve application 2025 COA 477 for the storefront louver, outdoor patio, wall signs and projecting signs at 1380 16th Street as per design policy standards and guidelines 3.1, 10.4, 10.4.1. The comprehensive sign plan for 16M presented testimony, submitted documentation and information provided in the staff report.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Byron and Tobias. All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Sorry, Mary Lee, was that for approval or denial?
That was an aye for approval.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I jumped the gun and you may have come through on the wrong spot. Okay, with that, the application is approved. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. That is the last design review project we have. Do we have any business items?
No business items.
Do we have any discussion items?
Just a reminder that we will have a meeting, a second meeting this month. That is a joint meeting of the LPC and LDDRC to review Wynkoop Crossing. That will be on July 29th. It will be at 1 p.m. So not our normal 8:30 meeting time, but we will be in this room here. So looking forward to seeing you all second time this month.
Thank you, Brittany.
All right.
You kind of hit all the time, place, location. That's what we needed. And if we have any questions, we can reach out to you if we've got any questions. Okay, and just as a reminder that this is an upcoming topic, so if we're in groups of, I believe, is it 2 or 3 or more, we need to not discuss business items.
Not sure, Nate.
Right.
The question is,
I do have one question, just about our procedure. I wonder if, does the staff report normally include images of the building being presented? Or do we rely on the presenter to show us images rather than just blueprints or drawings?
There's a link in the staff report, in the email that you received, where you can access those online, all those documents prior to the meeting.
Yeah,
Great, thank you.
we usually rely on the applicant to provide those materials. And yeah, they're online, as Tobias said. Occasionally we'll put an image in the staff report, but it's rare.
Okay.
yeah, and I also rely on Google Earth and going and visiting the site. So if the information isn't provided in either, I will go out and seek it.
But if you ever have questions before the meeting, feel free to ask whoever the staff person is on that item, and we're happy to answer that. If you don't know their email, you could just send it to me or Jen, and we can direct it as necessary.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or discussion items?
Do you want to follow up on that conversation about?
Yeah, sorry, I caught you off guard. Just so that the group knows, if we're in groups of, is it 2 or 3 or more, we need to not talk about the issue at hand.
Right, whenever there's a quorum of commission,
Okay.
then you can't be talking about business.
Okay,
And
And
I
I-
think we want you to avoid all ex parte communication in general.
that's.
You should
that's a
hear
good-
everything
yeah.
at the meeting.
Yeah,
Even if it's just 2 of you, you really shouldn't be discussing projects.
agree, yes.
Unless it's in the public setting.
Alrighty, if there is no other discussion items, we will close the meeting at 8:58.